What is up, internet? Welcome back to Milehighkei, America's #1 K-card channel. In today's video, we are going to tighten up the sloppy shifter with a kit from WillPowered Performance. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Welcome back, internet, and thank you for tuning in. As you may know, the van is a 1991 Honda Acty. It is over 30 years old, so there's going to be some parts that are past their expiration date, so to speak. One of those things is the shifter. Here we have the shifter. It is a 5-speed. My van is not a 4-wheel drive model. It is the 2-wheel drive model. It is in neutral right now, and there is quite a bit of play in the shifter. With this kit from WillPowered Performance, the goal is to tighten that up to where it doesn't have as much slop. So let's check out the kit. So here's the kit from WillPowered Performance. He was kind enough to send this over to me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This, however, is not sponsored, but if you work at Guyaki, hit me up. Here's the kit and all the tools that you will need in order to install it properly. First, there's 6 of these sort of collar bushings. Then there's 2 of these cup bushings, and I think you only need 1 of them for the kit. And then there's 2 different sizes of spacers. These ones are really thin, and these ones are a little thicker. A couple extra cotter pins, and then these sleeve bushings, which go around like the shifter ends, and then some grease to put it together. Really simple tools. You'll just need a 14mm spanner, a 12mm socket, a Phillips head screwdriver, and a flathead screwdriver just in case, and probably a pair of needle nose pliers in order to get the cotter pins out. The first couple steps that we will need to do are take off the shift knob, and then take off this little cover for the shifter assembly. There's just a couple Phillips head screws. I think there's 1, 2, and then 3 over there. Just pop that off, and then we can see what's underneath and really dive into it. Now with the boot and the cover taken off, we can see the whole shifter assembly, and now I can point out where each part of the kit goes. The 6 sort of collared bushings, they're gonna go here and here on either side of the main shifter assembly, as well as in here on either side of the actual stick. And then right here is where the cup bushing goes, and this is what slides around. And shaking it right now, you can see down here where mine is really loose. So the little sleeve bushings go right here, and then on the other one underneath here. But we'll get it all taken apart and show you in more detail where everything goes. But it's just cotter pin, and then another cotter pin under here. This is a 12mm socket. And on the opposite side, this is also a 12mm socket. And then we can take the whole thing out with the 14mm bolts here and here. If your cotter pin happens to break like mine did, don't worry about it, because that's why there's 2 extra in the kit. One other quick thing to note is to make sure to hold on to this kind of thicker spacer down here. A extra is not included in the kit, and this is necessary when you put it back together. Okay, that took way too long to get that cotter pin off, but now the actual shifter is off, and now you can see these 2 collar bushings that I will be replacing. So I'm going to put this off to the side for right now, and then just going to loosen up these 2 14s in order to take this whole thing out, and then you'll be able to see where the other collar bushings go. All right, now we have it all taken apart, and I can show you sort of what is going on and what's causing all the play. So in here, there's supposed to be a little collar bushing. It has totally disintegrated over the years. That's probably what all this dust is down here. And then over here, this one is barely hanging on to life. So I'm gonna pop this one out, and then I'm actually gonna go over to my tool bench and to show you a little better what I'm doing with the kit. Okay, got everything on the bench here, and now I can show you what is actually going on with the kit. So first, let's start off with the actual shifter. These are the two collar bushings on either side of it. Just gonna pop these two out and replace it with the two new ones. Same thing on this little like fork, and this piece right here goes around the ball cup, and the ball cup sits on the end here on this ball. It'll snap on and you'll push it down, and this is what slides in the fork to select it. And I can't find the one that came off of it because it kind of just popped off, lost itself to the bottomless pit of the floor of my garage. What happens is that these circles right here get wallowed out, and it makes so there's a bunch of play, and that coupled with the actual shifter ends not having one of these sleeve bushings, or the one that's in there just being all sloppy, is what accounts for most of the play. Right now I'm just going to reassemble this all. Remember to use a generous amount of lube. Then when we go to reinstall it back into the car, you'll see where the actual spacers come into play. Enough talking, let's get into it. Okay, we're ready to reassemble the shifter. And a quick little note that the two shaft bushings are different sizes. The smaller one goes on the outside shifter linkage, and the larger one goes on the inner shifter linkage. You'll find this out pretty quick because it will not fit together otherwise.
Alright, now that everything's back together, I wanted to explain my favorite part about this kit, and a very crucial part, which are the thin shims that are included. Basically, wherever there's a nut or bolt that needs to be tightened in the shifter assembly, you need to put a shim in there in order to have adjustability and control about how tight the shifter is and how much play that you want. Here are the 4 locations where I put shims in place. Where the two 14mm bolts are, I put the thicker shims, and I put the shims onto the bolt before sliding them through, so they're on the 14mm side rather than the 12mm side. And then with the other two, that is the posts that have the 12mm nut on, and I put the really thin shims on first before putting on the part and then the nut. And now with the shims in place, it is possible to over tighten the nut to where the shifter won't move. So this is where you have some adjustability, and you need to play with it to loosen it in order to get the right amount of movement.
All right, it is all put back together, and I am really happy with this kit. It was really easy to put together, and I think the results speak for themselves. A lot of this play is because the bushings that actually hold down the plate are a little worn, but still, this is way stiffer than it was before, and everything goes into gear like it should. First, second, third, fourth, and fifth, and reverse. So super stoked. It is very responsive and very stiff. All right, everyone, so that about does it for this video on the install of the WillPowered Performance shifter bushing kit. I give it 5 vans out of 5 vans. It was really easy to assemble, and it fixed the issue that it was designed for. Good job. Thank you again for sending that out to me. I really appreciate it. Again, that's it for this video. You may have noticed that I have the Honda Beat t-shirt on. Thank you to everyone that pre-ordered these. They just came in the mail today, so I will be sending those out this week. I do have a couple extras, so if you are wanting to pick up one, they're listed on the web store as well as the Honda Acty shirts. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, and remember, keep it small.